So we're at the Birmingham Expo at the NEC, and I'm in my hotel room, as you can see. However, I wanted to show you something that I thought was quite cool and sort of do a, let's call it a review, because it is a review. What I'm going to do is I'm going to show you a dripper, single coil dripper, that I actually think is really good. And I'm just going to tell you why it's good. I'm not going to do all the bother of unboxing per se and all the building, because I actually did that off screen already. You'll have to forgive me. I'm in Birmingham. You can't bring tools, you know, knives, scissors, screwdrivers and things. They sort of look down upon when it comes to the airport security, let's say. So when I was at the show, there was a gentleman that had a bunch of tools, and so I quickly built this. But what this is the Pixi from VapeFly. Yeah? It's pretty sweet. So what I'm going to do is I think I'm going to switch the camera back around so I can kind of have you here with me. And yeah, let's go over this one. So in the box is the atomizer, and what I'm going to do is I'm actually not going to do the unboxing, but I am going to take the box apart, or try to anyway here, because there's some extras inside that I think are necessary. Come on, work with me. Here we go. There we go. These things. So you get a Squonk pin, but everyone knows that. And I've already actually installed the Squonk pin. This is what's cool. This is a little airflow reducer, right? So there's technically 3 modes on this atomizer. You've got your build deck, which again, I quite like. So sorry, drip tip first. There we go. Got it. Okay. So general 510 drip tip. Top cap. This is quite thin, and there's not a whole lot of material up here, and this has been cut. I'm actually going to use the VapeFly as a background. There we go. So you can see that this has got a little undercut piece, and that's just a little press fit part on top of the actual physical cap itself. So the beautiful thing about this being so thin is it won't transfer heat. Okay, we've talked about this with other atomizers. Stainless steel will hold heat, but it is good, especially if there's not a whole lot of mass. There it goes. Alrighty. So here's the deck section. It's pretty simple. It's got a decent sized juice well for what it is, right? This is just a single coil little flavor dripper. It's got your indentation here for indexing the coils. And you'll notice that it's not centered. Center's about there. So they want you to put the coil just forward of the post section and all that. And the reason for this, of course, is that it has a interlocking airflow section. The interlocking airflow section, as you can see exactly what it's going to do when I push it all the way down. There you go. It's got that airflow sitting just at the coil. Now your airflow starts up here and ends up kind of coming down at an angle. And this is cool for many reasons. But again, let's go the further distance here. You have 3 modes technically. One is wide open mode, which is that. And I don't necessarily think you'd have a reason for that much airflow, honestly, unless you were building something just incredible. But in the 2 reducer sections, you've got these 2 airflow choices. And to be fair, the feel, like the draw on both of them is incredibly similar. And that's originally what got my interest. It's not something that is drastically different from one version to the next. Yeah, so subjective con is it's not necessarily the easiest to install and change. You just do need a little pen or something there you can push. But let's be honest, how often are you actually changing your airflow pieces? Once you've got that all sorted, you have your airflow choice, right? Obviously this changes. Now if you bring this all the way around, you can see that single coil there. You have the choice of reducing it to a single hole. Now the cool thing is if you're going to run it in a single hole wide open, you can choose which particular coil path, or rather hole path, you want to use. Obviously centered would be nice, but if you want to do less than 1 airflow, you can kind of, you know, kink it like so and really do some tiny stuff. Now again, this is a flavor dripper. Now I'm going to take this off. The cotton is acting as a reducer, technically, a chamber reducer. This airflow section is acting as a reducer of space inside. These large posts are cutting down on some of the space. However, you still have plenty of juice because underneath of this is a little cutout. So even if this thing has juice in the bottom of it and you tilt it sideways, it's less likely to leak out these little holes. And as far as the top cap goes, you can see that that stops pretty well just flat on top of those posts. So there really isn't a whole lot of wasted space on this. And even though you have a decently large Clapton in here, I find that the vapor and the flavor is fantastic. So that's the basic overview, guys. Out of the two airflow choices, I prefer the 3. The wide open piece is definitely not a cloud chaser. It is simply a ease of draw. So there's like a slightly restricted lung hit, and then this is a little bit more of just a regular open lung hit. But again, because of the geometry of the inside of all this and the way the airflow has to travel, there is really no, how do I put it? There really is no wide open setting. Even with this removed, that is more airflow than you would ever need. But with the airflow reducers in place, you really do get a wonderful, flavorful vape off of this. It was something that I was surprised about just because, I don't know, we haven't necessarily seen another company, specifically VapeFly, focus on strictly a flavor dripper. So I figured today, I would put it up against my daily. My daily is my White Currant, one of the favorite flavors of all time, and of course, my Tobino. Now you can see they're pretty well spot on. Let's ignore the 3 holes, by the way. But they are very consistent as far as their sort of construction. I mean, obviously this one has a similar kind of method where the airflow is coming straight onto the coil, with the cutouts underneath in the juice well. The difference is that this outer piece isn't removable like this one is. So ease of build, technically, I'm actually going to give it to the Pixi. This isn't difficult to build because your coils are coming in vertically, right? This is a horizontal type build, but it really isn't that big of a difference as far as where the coil sits. And in my own opinion, this is a fantastic flavor dripper. I'm sure some of you agree, and I'm sure there's plenty of you out there that disagree, but you have to admit that the construction of this, with the airflow coming in the way it does, is just great. So ease of build, I'm giving it to this guy. You can fit a larger coil. You can fit round wire in this a lot better than you can on mine. And I love this atomizer, by the way. Let's not say anything wrong there. That is my go-to all day favorite Addy thus far, or at least favorite Addy that I can show you on camera. Okay. This one though, I was impressed. It's got the little Squonk pin in place, and with how easy it was to put this coil in without really thinking about it, it was kind of nice. Especially because, again, I got the coil straight out of the box, and I usually test the coils that come with them because it is an opportunity for me to experience what the manufacturer actually wanted with their coil. So I'm assuming they didn't just throw a coil in, and this is something that's been tested and preempted. Now, if you don't know, VapeFly, by the way, makes their own Clapton coils. Like the VapeFly manufactures them. They also manufacture their own cotton. So I will show you a video about that coming here shortly on the channel. But yeah, I've actually seen technically these Claptons being made in the factory. So it's really kind of cool to see. Installation is not that bad. As far as coils go, you can fit a variety of stuff, and it's easy because of the horizontal construction. There's a little locking block down there. If I had to complain right now, I would say that locking block is a little too small. And let me give you the for instance here. If you get it just wrong, like so, and you go to push it down, you then have to kind of twist and try and find out where you're at. Well, obviously I'm twisting the wrong way. It's so much easier just to take the top cap off, look, push it down a little bit on that side, and then rotate it into position. Like that. Okay? Not a big deal. It's just something you have to be conscious of with the RDA. I got used to it pretty quickly, but honestly, the first 2 times I did it, I got annoyed. Because all of a sudden my airflow is pointing at the cotton, and I'm like, what the hell did I do wrong? I had to actually remove the entire cap, look, and go, oh yeah, it's there. So, possible con there. I'll give it a con, right? Secondary con is going to be that, not all the drip tips look good on this one. And actually, mine's really tight. God. I swear it wasn't this difficult when I first got it. It is really cold in this hotel, and especially in the UK right now, so I'm pretty sure that these O-rings on both of them are super hard and stiff in the morning. And oh, that's a horrible joke. Oh no. Okay, I'll leave it in. Yeah, there we go. Anyways, subjective con here is going to be that not all different drip tips look good on this. I'm not necessarily a huge fan of drip tips that have this little curve on the inside of them, but we know that. I would say another stupid little con, and again, I'm being fussy now, guys, right? Is it didn't come with a beauty ring. It didn't come with a beauty ring. I think that looks pretty fantastic. These little 22 mil atomizers always look nice with a little bit of something extra on the outside, just to kind of you know, change the shape of what an atomizer looks like. But of course, if you did that, you'd cover up the logo. Can't have that. Outside of that, guys, this is all I wanted to show you today was the internals, the build, how it goes together, what makes it cool as far as the airflow path and the changeability. And yeah, let's vape it. Let's do a couple things before I actually vape this. I want you to listen to the noise, right? It's a different sound, but I'm telling you, the draw feel off of this is very similar. So I like it because it's just a tiny bit more, but it's not excessive. It's not something where you're going to start getting like tons of spit back because you're just sucking so much volume of air through such a tiny little atomizer. But nevertheless, I'm going to go back to my original one because I like the 3 holes, man. It's very much the same as my aesthetic, and yeah, I just like it. All right, so what's happening here is currently I'm getting quite a bit of flavor. Again, a flavor I'm incredibly used to. And now compared to this, right, the heat is just ever so slightly less on their coil. By the way, I vaped this on my own coil for like a week. I loved it. So that's why I'm doing the review. It was one of those things that I was pretty impressed by. This works brilliantly with round wire. You can even use larger Claptons because those holes are a little bit more squared and open, right? There's a couple cons that I will mention. Con number 1 is it is a metal top cap currently, like a completely metal top cap. It doesn't get that hot, but when I put this on regulated and I was like actually cranking on it pretty good, it got warm. It's just something that's gonna happen because metal, right? They've done their best to make it thin, but it's gonna happen. The second thing, I'll show in the close-ups as well. The Squonk pin protrudes up past the deck. In this particular case, the Squonk pin is raised. That coil, if you use the indexing slots, sits right on top of that. So just be cautious of the diameter of coil that you're using and how close you are to that pin. So before you put cotton in or anything, you know, check, make sure you're clear, move the coil, and then begin your dry fire process. Outside of that, I can't find any flaws with this. If you don't like the aesthetics, that's you. I like it because it's very much, you know, I can't say anything bad about it. With the exception that, you know, with their coil, the heat isn't coming off as much as when I built it, but that's all. I would put probably a 0.2 and just enjoy. It's going to be amazing. So thanks guys for watching. If you haven't subscribed already, please subscribe. I'm in England doing this in my hotel. Like, throw down a like in the comments and say what's up. If you're in the UK, come see us at the show. If not, then I don't know. I'll be on YouTube's again here shortly. I've been traveling way too much. But oh, by the way, sorry. More China trip stuff is coming. I'm doing my own editing at the moment, so it's going really slowly. I apologize. I want to show you kind of the best side of China. You know, a little bit of a storyline. You know, first we did Lost Vape, and then we did the next video. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you on the next one. Bye. Ooh. Oh my god, cold O-rings in the morning. I'm struggling this morning, guys. My fingers are weak AF. Yes, I sound like a millennial. I apologize.